And welcome back to Zelda Speedruns. We apologize. Got game reset back up after the computer issues. Sawneyrath versus Angel Nimbus. Once again, tracking is done by BKPKT Patrick, and I am joined in the commentator booth by Elendar. Welcome back.
It's good to be back. We had the makings of a jet seed last time. I want to see pain now. This is my rule. Back during Max Rando, runners were allowed to mulligan bad starts at the beginning of the races, and occasionally did. But my rule was, if they want to reroll, they're going to get some hot garbage. No more jet seeds. We're going to see forced DM hunting all around. I want to see some pain. Sawneyrath somehow rolling an even worse color palette here.
At least it isn't blue, so we can actually see him against sky.
It's okay. We've been saved by the darkness. We don't have to see it anymore. All color palettes show up the same in the dark. This is important so that different palette choices don't have any effects on visibility. That's why we don't allow playing with the randomized enemy color flags, because if you do that, sometimes different enemies can become visible in the dark.
I did do a sprite for Invisible Link. So if you want to make it even worse, you could. Not be able to see where you're going.
That's painful.
And yep, still don't know for Caldera, Mountainous, what kind of biome we got here. Did see the raft tile. We do have looks like an early thunder spell. So one of those quote-unquote major items out of the way. See what else we have access to here on the west. A lot of caves crammed close together in. Would not be surprised that this is a caldera. First palace is a 2-item P1. It is a caldera, and it looks like it's a one-way caldera. I saw that one palace kind of hanging up there on the north of Sawneyrath's location. Reflect spell in Mido will need the medicine, but I think we also need a raft. And Elendar had to step away for a few seconds, so we'll give you an update once he gets back. I know he'll like to hear about the one-way caldera. So I'll go west. I did not see what that hint was for, though. It's for fairy. Alright. So that pretty much gives us our 3 major spells. Obviously, we need the glove as well. And then whatever items we need to get to said places. There's the raft. I knew it had to be somewhere over here. Next town robbery with just the jump spell. And our next check is just a magic container on grass tile. So we got a raft, and probably need to see where that goes. There's that jump spell for Angel. Just mainly going over the same checks that the other runners have been over. Sawneyrath again looks like they're going to be trying to power level, especially with attack. Already at 313, but Angel's already at 314. Just to give people up to date, Angel's computer crashed on the last seed, so the runners agreed to just re-roll and just go another race. So that's why we are back in the beginning. think Sawneyrath here is going to see that it is a one-way caldera and knows the only way to go anywhere is going to be with that raft tile. But actually is going to go pick up down step first. So where does our raft tile go? To Maze Island. And our connector cave goes to the other side of the west. Hint that Bagu's letter's in the west, so I don't think we found that just yet. So we got a couple of item checks here on the northern side. So we still got Fairy and Bagu's letter outstanding. We got the good side of Sario with the spell. Vanilla letter and a pea bag under the table. Tracker is telling us the mirror is in P3 for the fire spell. That is a lot of experience off of those red diaries, 200 points each. Two item P2 or 3 here on the northern side of the west. And we do have a cave that is boots or fairy blocked on the other side of Saria. So, Fairy might be in there with the boots, or we do have Bagu's letter, so we can get across that way.
Apologies, I have returned.
Alright, so here's our update. The west is a one-sided caldera. They needed the raft to get to Maze Island. Then there's a connector cave off of Maze Island to get to the other end of the west.
Ah, that's the kind of hot nonsense I was looking for. Just replace Maze Island with Death Mountain, and it would have been great.
And Fairy is somewhere here on the west. Believe it's on the other side of Saria. There's a cave that's blocked over there by either the boots, Fairy, or Bagu's letter, which Bagu's letter is vanilla.
It's always a nice one. Get a pea bag under the table. Looks like 500 points. Not a terrible one.
Yep. I think that's where Angel's headed as well, is to go across Saria to get to that one last cave where I believe is Fairy.
I'm always excited to occasionally see a seed where Bagu's letter pays off.
Angel, I think, is trying to kill these red diaries because they're worth 200 each.
Yeah, might as well. 4, 4, 5, pretty good levels here. 500s in the small pool. That explains why their levels are so good.
There's that fairy spell.
Sony immediately back in the maze.
You didn't check the palace in the caldera. You know, obviously P1 on the southern part, and it's a 3-6 in the northern part with 2 items.
$150 for the blue Lizalfos.
Not that great when you know the red Dyers are 200.
Yeah, it's just very similar to last seed. Not great blue Lizalfos, very good red Iron Knuckles. But hey, farm experience from the enemies you can. There is a in the next update, some extra options for experience that have been added. If people like some more chaos in their experience.
Are you telling me there's going to be an anything, kind of like an anything goes for experience?
Not an anything goes, but there's a +/-4 in there. Also backported some of the old options from the SGL tournament have been added. So Sony's still looking around this maze.
And
Angel gonna be the first one in palaces.
Yeah, I was wondering if someone would do this, especially depending on what the palace in the caldera is, to just clear out the west.
Yeah, I really like this idea of going and clearing, especially at least the far end of the caldera, because it's gonna take a long time to get back there.
Any key in 6.
Nice reward. First of 2 items, and that's definitely a good one. I was gonna say I didn't catch how much the fairy spell cost, but it doesn't really matter for Angel anymore.
You found the medicine in the first item cave in Maze Island. Oh, there's an unkillable Octorok on top of that mountain. On the top of that
Very
hill.
rude.
And I believe this is a new item room.
See, just a second for Angel. Okay, well, they can't all be winners.
But that's both items out of 6.
Spell the second item, yeah, for Sony. Not what he's looking for, I'm sure.
And definitely not to accidentally fall back in again.
I feel like every other race that happens to somebody, you're just not thinking, oh, oops.
But it is going to the bridge tile here on the southern part of Maze Island. So are we going east or are we going to Death Mountain?
Aww. I was hoping for Death Mountain. Instead, we just get a nice friendly trip to the east.
And we found Barba.
Well, friendly in air quotes at this point, Sonny immediately takes a death down to his last life. He's going to probably go look for a palace to up A before going back to Old Kasuto.
And there's just a P bag in there anyway, so.
Oh, then
Not
not going to go back to Old Kasuto at all. It would be nice, but not worth taking a game over risk. The trainer there being a little bit of a troll, you will not get 200 rupees for jumping on the lava.
Well, you could, but we don't use rupees in this world.
Yeah, I mean, we actually don't know. All these enemies could be dropping rupees. Like, it's just got a huge pocket full of them and no one cares. Angel gonna be first one with a gem on the board. 20 minutes in. At this point, we had a bunch of gems placed in the previous race, but still not complete hot garbage like I was hoping for. Just, this seems like a pretty normal difficulty seed.
It's got a little bit of garbage in there.
We get some pain in GP, maybe. Could be a nasty glove hunt.
There's the cross.
What's it called? Dere here in the east. Interesting. I thought it was a dry canyon a little bit at first with that desert, but nope, we are called Daring, and Angel's going to check the far side first.
Yeah, this.
Oh, this is
the west.
Yeah.
Angel's still in the west.
Oh, that's right. Angel's still in the west. Angel never left.
Yeah. There's two palaces here on the east, one of which is GP. And the other is a one-item P4. And P3 in the caldera on the west. Life spell is our first item in P3. Looks like I didn't get to see when Angel walked in, but on their tracker they have it as 2 items in P3. Just a flute for the item for Sawneyrath, so still looking for a glove.
Yeah, still haven't seen. We haven't seen either of the flute blocks yet for Sony, have we?
Nope. Have not seen Larry.
Could still be useful. Every time you get that flute, you're like, okay, well, at least I feel a little bit safe.
There's the desert tile in that corner of the screen. Oh, nope, we've got a Larryville.
And a rock block.
Yeah, but nothing. We've seen both item caves for the east.
Yeah, so not going to be very useful. Let's see, Sonic does have the water, so we'll be able to get both items here.
It's just a hard container or the spell item. What is in the water? Just a blue jar.
Ooh. Unfortunate. Wow, Sonic passed it up the heart even. Sonny's just full foot on the gas. Does not want to waste any time. I'd have picked up the heart there.
And the other item in P3 is the mirror, and Angel says, I don't need that. We're just leaving items all over the place.
wizard babysitting here in New Kasuto, and Granny looks favorably upon 6 containers. There's gonna take that heart.
I mean, that was less walking. We were already there. We didn't have to wait for anybody.
Angel with a better execution on Rebo this time does eventually get the setup, and that is one Rebo down. Ooh, gets the double level too. Very nice. Oh, 500 bags from the boss. Okay, that makes the double level a lot easier to get.
There's the glove in Spell Tower.
Okay, so Maze Island for spell required. And so Sawneyrath just a reflect away from go mode here, and he knows where it is. That's presumably where he's heading right now.
Angel going into P1. So if you're Sawneyrath, you've got, once again, the 4 major items. You know where all the palaces pretty much are. You haven't seen the valley just yet, but we have the flute, and, well, we know it's not Larry blocked, and pretty sure it's not hammer blocked.
Yeah, I think Sawny is just in the same position now he was in the previous race, where it's like, all right, time to go.
I think the only thing that could stop here would be if it's somehow boots blocked.
Yep, and he's gonna just start doing all 3 palaces in the west. Don't think we're gonna see any item checks in any of these. I think Sawny is just gonna go as fast as he can and hope it's good enough. This time, though, he's got, instead of having a several palace lead, he's a couple palaces behind starting up here in the palace clear, but fully in go mode should be able to catch up. Oh, I am immediately proven wrong, as the first item Sawny finds, he decides to go grab. And immediately punished for that decision.
We'll see what he does with the other item room, because the other item room is just a P bag as well. Also, Sawny a little bit lower on levels than he was last time. Only 435.
Yeah, definitely a big difference from attack 8. Oh, Angel almost made the jump, had a good jump at it, but gets trolled by a little mini Goomba hanging out here. This room definitely, if you get a bad set of enemies, could be a rough one. I think the vanilla enemies for that room are small enemies, so it's not quite so painful. But, of course, we have large and small shuffle and enemy shuffle on, so you can get really anything there. As Angel takes a dip and decides the fastest way is just to refill his health and magic.
It's just having trouble with that room.
Yep. Could have gone around and made another attempt at the jump, had enough bridge left to do it, but decides to just ferry out and immediately rewarded with a boss.
I would say
Definitely not the quickest of P1s.
No, I would say Horsehead rolled up, but it's still Horsehead, so.
Yeah, Horsehead's spin of life is low enough that even rolling up doesn't make a ton of difference. Unless you're going in there at like P1 or P2.
Angel to the Maze Island, probably to pick up both items here, which both are required.
Yeah, definitely good if he goes to looks for. I'm gonna do the palace first. Not a problem. The order. And now Sawney, first one up on the board for him, 29 to 30. Definitely not as nice as the previous race, but still in good shape. Nothing's gonna be as nice as that jet in progress that Sawney had going in the last one. Just a little quick turnaround to reset encounters for Sawney. And he'll be off to the maze as well, just in Angel's footsteps, except he'll be... Okay, he's gonna do the remaining two western palaces first and then do the maze. Makes sense. You can sort of do them whatever you want, doesn't make a big difference. As long as Sawney finishes these three palaces up before going back east. It's pretty similar time routing.
Well, I could see doing the P2 first on the maze, because then you could finish up the two on the west and then up an A back over instead of having to walk back to the Maze Island. But he might up an A just after these two palaces and then do P2.
Yeah, because it's a pretty quick trip back to the maze from up A. The reason to do P2 first would just be that it's P2. It's nice and easy if you were looking for levels prior to doing these other palaces. Just gonna mean if he were lower on attack, I would be a little more favorable towards doing P2 first, but he's gonna have no problem doing these palaces on 5-3-5.
But Sawneyrath with that glove, unfortunately, Angel's gonna go back into P2 to try to find the item here.
Sawney freeing the Iron Knuckle Bolt for the level up. The experience, at least. Sawney's going to stay on this variation of power leveling where instead of just trying to get all attack levels, you can alternate attack and life, and just not going to be as high, but you're going to get good, if not great, experience from each boss. But the other nice thing that does is Sawney has now reset his counter onto a jar if he ends up needing that later. So Sawney is grabbing the items here. Gonna be disappointed about this one as well.
Yeah, because still has glove, any key, thunder, reflect, and fairy. Might just be looking for, like I said, boots just in case, or hammer just in case.
Yeah, doesn't know if he needs them. Yeah.
He has not seen the entrance to the valley. Obviously, a desert canyon normally is a little bit more open, so normally boots isn't required.
Another item for Angel here, gonna be a heart.
Yeah, that's the only item in P2.
Okay. Not sad about it, I'm sure. He's gonna get now both of his required items from the maze. The candle gonna be a little bit nicer, but I tell you what's nice is P6 making much faster work of those blue result posts.
Yeah, it took double-digit shots from Sawney to get through it. Up an A immediately from Angel after getting the medicine to go get Reflect.
Sawney making an attempt at a jackhammer. Didn't quite get it. Gets on the second try.
Angel did not grab the second item from the maze just yet.
That's potentially scary. He should probably find it. I think he's just decided, well, this detour is required anyway. I might as well do it now before I go into the east. It definitely made more sense for Sawney to clear out everything else he could first, because he needed to make it backtrack to the west to do Palace anyway. If you're Angel, this is the end of the west. You can fully mark it off your bingo card and focus everything on the east and finishing up.
And you would think with the glove outstanding, you would still be looking through item checks anyway.
Yeah. Definitely the maze is going to be one of the easier available checks for Angel. Yeah, and he is checking through all these alternate routes, not just making a beeline for the end, because he does want to make sure he gets both items here.
And here's the spell form.
Yeah, it looks like he didn't have a choice but to get both items anyway.
So right now it looks like it's Angel needing to find new Kasuto for the glove versus Sawneyrath's Palace Rush.
Yeah, definitely Angel. I like Angel's approach of finishing off everything on the west first. He's done a little bit more going back and forth. And Sony could be skipping all these items, but he's picking them up anyway. Yeah, I understand he wants to be safe, but he's going to have to do a little bit of catching up here.
Angel got one more shot from the Invisible Moa on their way out of Old Kasuto.
Yeah, I mean, those old Kasuto Moas, I swear, are bloodthirsty, like, even more so than normal Moas. So Angel's just clearing out everything here into Brunia. Sony should be coming up on the end of this palace shortly. I suspect that by the time Angel finishes grabbing the rest of his go mode items, Sony probably going to be about a trip through Maze Island behind, would be my guess.
Yeah, we'll definitely see, because obviously they'll converge at P4. With P5 in the valley.
Highly doubt we're going to see Sony pick up this mirror here, and I'm correct. It could potentially be good, but he just doesn't want it. He doesn't care at this point. Not interested in possibilities of good things, just looking to go.
I'm just a bit surprised by the walking back here by Sawneyrath. This is where I would expect the up and A, because that raft tile is right near start.
Yeah, not going to cost him a ton of time, but like 30 seconds or so. Hard to say exactly.
And Angel just goes into this P4.
Yeah, I don't even think it was even that. Maybe 10 seconds different. Okay, so no glove before P4 for Angel. This could be really bad. Probably not going to be, but sometimes, you know, you get 15 rooms into a palace and you see a glove block and you're like, oh no.
Well, also I have to think that Angel's going to look for the item here in 4, because still does not have the glove.
Yeah, could end up costing a bunch of time, could be basically completely free. It's a bit of danger for Angel, but we'll see what ends up happening. So far, just a bunch of lefts.
And more lefts.
Hooray for lefts. Sort of the worst feeling when you're going through a palace and it's just like 8 lefts in a row and you're just like, come on.
And speaking of glove block.
Oh, we are glove blocked. Okay, a little bit of time lost for Angel. Oh, he's going back in, trying to go a different way.
I didn't see any other routes, but I might have missed it.
But still, though, this is all time Angel is losing to Sawney here.
Well, yes and
now
no.
Evened up in gem. Sawney is going to be into this 4 pretty shortly with a glove.
But we've also seen it where sometimes something like a glove block is actually a detriment.
Yeah, sometimes you see the glove block, you go a different way, that was the right way, and you're like, oh man, I got out of here lucky.
And that is the case here, but this was on a right. It's interesting that Angel went left first.
Well, he gets bailed out for his decision. Not too much of a time loss from not having that glove. We'll see which direction Sawney goes when he gets in here, but for now, Angel maintaining a gem lead.
And also knows that the item is behind the glove block, so it can't be the glove.
Yeah, so Sawney gonna enter P4 right as Angel is exiting.
It's pretty quick if you take that right.
Yeah, could be still pretty even if Sawney finds the way to the boss quickly. And we're probably pretty much evened up here.
And Angel's going into the valley.
That's not good. Everything Angel does before getting the glove is potential danger. Yeah, GP is outside the valley, so
Correct.
you're gonna have to go in and out anyway. Glove is in Spell Tower. So Angel has what he needs to get that, just hasn't found New Kasuto yet. Sawney has explored everything, and so he is catching up. 3 items here in P5.
Yee.
That could be a dagger for Angel if he decides to go dig them out. Because that could sink a whole bunch of time. But it all depends. Sometimes you get these 3-item palaces and they're all sort of just on your way.
You get those rooms one on top of the other, either a drop or an elevator. Yep, there's the quick P4 for Sawneyrath that we expected.
First item, nice, easy for Angel. Gonna get a trophy. Gonna not get a trophy. Does not want it, understandably.
We're not going back west. We don't need anything from over there. But now both of them are in P5. Welcome, Raiders.
We got a pretty close one here. Both runners kind of neck and neck. Angel does not have a glove, though, and so there is danger here in this P5 if he decides to dig out the 2 remaining items or gets glove blocked. He's going to be way behind instead of pretty much even. And of course, just whoever finds the right, the right way to go, finds the boss first, can also swing this quite a bit. It's a pretty forky P5 so far.
Yeah, but we still have that major problem that even if Angel finds Guma, he's going to go back in to look for items because he's still missing the glove.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, you could gamble on it, but he's probably going to dig out the items. Here's a second item for Angel. So far, finding the items sort of just on the path, not having to go too far out of his way for him, it's not going to cost a ton of time. Here's some
those
boots. Those are garbage.
But I do want to bring up something with the boots here in P5. Bagu's letter was required.
Yeah. I'm always excited to see not only Bagu's letter required, vanilla Bagu's letter required.
Because Fairy was behind Bagu's letter, the boots, and any key were in palaces. So
one item outstanding for Angel, but here's the boss. We'll see if he decides to stick around after killing it or not. If he does move on, he's going to be in good shape. If he sticks around, hard to say.
I'm going to think he would stick, just because if the glove is here, once again, you're pretty much last location it if you leave it here.
Yeah, it would be a big gamble, but it's one of those gambles that you can make if you're like, man, I feel like I'm behind. I don't want to do P5. I'm just going to take a gamble, and if it's in P5, I lose. Right? Yeah, that's the sort of thing you can do, but we'll see if Angel decides. Answer no. This is a responsible decision from Angel, but it is one that's going to lose him some time.
Not taking the level looks like it's going to try to run to attack 7.
It should be able to, as long as it's not too long of a trip to the item. Or too short of a trip to the item. But meanwhile, Sawny is going to be at the boss in just a second here.
Yep.
And immediately moving on to GP. Yeah, and I saw Sawny on his camera looking over to the side. Take a look at the time, potentially looking, has Angel finished? This one feels like it's fast. It could have been faster. And Sawny's got at least a little bit of worry in him.
Well, also you'd have to slightly worry after computer issues from the first race.
Yeah, whether something blew up.
Yep.
And unfortunately, Angel just setting time on fire here in P5.
Of course, he doesn't know that, so he can't.
Yeah.
Can't say it's a bad play. If the glove was in here, it'd be the correct play.
Sawny, pretty quick time coming out of the valley. Some fairy feats away, and we're going to be in GP in just a second here. Going to be sub 50 into GP.
No, gotta do a little bit of leveling still, okay.
He just wanted a magic refill.
Okay, I saw that they were near a level and didn't know if they were up and A-ing before GP.
Yeah, didn't want to up A, but he did want to come into GP with full lives and magic, so quick little detour.
But how about a sub 50 GP entry?
Man, and Angel just ended up looping right back to where this trophy is, and yeah, he's up A-ing. I thought he might have been giving up. That's rough. So he's now going to be counting on a game over from Sawny to catch up here, which, it can happen. GP Could be extremely rude as we find our first bird of the palace.
They have both upstab and downstab, so no blocks there. Got the any key to deal with that one room. I think they even have the jump spell, so...
Angel deciding to give up. He's like, I don't know where this item is. I don't care. I'm just going to take the risk. If it is there, I lose, whatever.
Well, there was a couple of, I believe, glove-blocked paths.
Ah. So it could be the last item glove blocked. If that's the case, it's definitely not the gloves, so might as well leave.
But you have to think, though, it's got to hurt that it's not in there. You just spent all that time in P5.
For sure. Meanwhile, pretty linear path so far for Sony, just mostly holding right. And this is eating up a bunch of rooms towards our minimum 12 rooms to get to Darklink.
Shield spell on the water tile is helpful, but not what we're looking for.
Yeah, it's like jump. It's one of those nice to haves coming into GP, but Sony on the barest amount of remaining health. Who gets a 1-up? Very nice. The 1-up Guardian Rim guarded by just a Mew, but gonna have to contend with a bird to get this magic refill. Oh, another magic refill, so he's also gonna be able to cast life a couple times. Alright, a very nice recovery room from Sony at the bottom of this elevator. Once again, we have waffles. Not a polite waffle room either. Sony just gonna stab away at the spicy chicken. Wow, attack 7, destroying that chicken. Alright, so we have had upstab and downstab blocks here. As Angel finally gonna get his glove here in New Kasuto. Conveniently placed King Bach, gonna get rid of the rest of the enemies in this room.
Here's that jump block. I don't know if there's a block on the other end.
Yeah, this one's not. This one's just a jump or fairy.
Okay. Well, it's one way it's a jump block, because there's those blocks right outside the elevator.
Yeah. It could be jump blocked going to the left, but going to the right it's jump or fairy. So technically, logically, jump block room, but most of the time not. Another upstab block. Stab's really getting their work here. 2 hits to take down a red bird. Wow. Right, and after that long, mostly linear trip, Sony has found Thunderbird. Wow, barely affords a thunder spell, but he's got it. No safeties though, no shield, no reflect, and
immediate shot.
Yeah, gonna get taken down. 3 lives remaining though, because he did pick up that extra one from that room. So, and can he afford any additional safeties on a new level? No. Wow, that's a very expensive thunder for Magic 7. This has been a long enough route that if Sonic game overs, Angel gonna have quite a bit of advantage, but it's looking unlikely at this point. Yep, and here's the Arc Link. And all but certainly Sawneyrath gonna take this one down. He was way ahead in the first one, and very likely to be able to take this one out with a bunch of life and lives remaining. But just really clean execution, good overworld routing, and gonna come in with a sub-hour finish here in the bracket flags. Official time 55:50.
And we're joined by our race winner, Sawneyrath.
I just have 2 words right now. Corner 3. Every single time.
Sort of lit to game 4.
I mean, technically speaking, yeah.
A quick status on that first one was an absolute jet. We could have been hoping maybe for a sub 50 from your end on that, but unfortunately technical issues. But came ahead with the win of this one as well.
I misread P5 as well on that one. But yeah, it could have been a sub 50.
Still 55-50. Very good time for bracket flags here.
Oh yeah. It was like after getting the glove, it was just Inner Palace and get to bosses relatively quickly. I found both the items in 3, got the key in 6, and at that point I was like, well, we're gonna get life 6, attack 7, and then just get magic levels as they come.
Yeah, the big difference between you and Angel ended up being that you did your full sweep of the East first, got everything you needed, and then sort of just palace rushed. Angel did the Western palaces first, but that meant when he got back to doing the East, you two were pretty much tied, maybe a little bit of a lead for Angel, and unfortunately Angel went into the valley and did P5 before picking up that glove.
Oh no.
Just burned a bunch. There were 3 items in there, just burned a bunch of time looking for those items. And unfortunately, did not get the glove until you were pretty much finishing up GP. So he's just maybe about halfway through GP now. Little unfortunate, but it was pretty close up until then.
And that GP was long.
Yeah, it was long and mostly linear.
Yeah, very, very linear.
Yeah, I remember. I don't think we solved too many junctions.
No, there weren't very many, but just the amount of distance covered in GP felt like pretty much all of the palaces, even though on my stat screen it absolutely wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, you only burned a little bit of time in GP. You know, go into that room, get an extra life and magic refill, and end up being 2 magic refills in that room.
Which worked out since I was able to mostly fill my life back up.
Yeah, you ended up with a very safe finish. Angel's been playing this GP a little bit more aggressively, but has life 8 and not gonna have a problem at all taking down Thunderbird here after the first intentional death.
And then be let down immediately by Dark Link right after.
Yeah, Thunder's so expensive, $80 at Magic 7.
Yeah, I was thinking about grabbing that 7th magic container out of, I think it was Darunia.
Yeah,
Because
neither you nor Angel ended up doing it, but it could have been.
it might have made a slight difference on the first T-Bird fight, just having Reflect. But at that point, I would have tried to go for the whole hog and done Reflect Jump and Thunder.
Yeah, could have potentially made a difference in that first life, but you made it clean enough in the second life, and obviously no problem with Dark Link right after as Angel now on Dark Link as well, going to be finishing up in just a bit here. So ended up being quite close. Like I said, that glove and that P5 really just ended up being the difference. Was very close up until then, but unfortunately not close after. Good stabbing from Angel here is going to have Angel finish 1 hour and 59 seconds. Also get your GGs in that for Angel.
What a heck of a seed, though. Like, as soon as I saw Spell and then found Nukusudo, I was like, alright, I can do everything here. I need to do it.
Yeah, both items from Maze Island ended up being required. Thankfully, they were pretty much on the path and you really couldn't miss them, but...
Yeah. It made going through the maze a lot easier. Just some of those encounters, especially with a decently high-cost fairy at the time, was... ugh.
We'll have Angel in here in just a second.
I was also worried that the boots were going to be required for the glove on the water tile, and if that was the case, I was going to be screwed.
Yeah, those boots were in 5. So that would have been advantage Angel for sure if that ended up being required, but it was not. GG's.
Hey, GG.
GG's, Angel.
Yeah, Angel, unfortunately, you got done in by the glove at the end there. You two were pretty much tied. You had a little bit of an advantage heading into P5, but the glove was not in P5, and that just cost you that little bit of time to end up being behind in GP.
Yeah, I was hesitant on going into Death Valley. I figured maybe I should have checked the east first. Obviously, that was the right choice, but yeah, I did that yesterday too. I went to Death Valley first. I just figured while I was there, I should just do it and try to knock it out of the way, but I guess it bit me.
It happens, dude. Like, with what we had, especially from the maze, going into Nuke Pseudo really just ended up paying off. I think that's really the only major difference we had, otherwise, aside from you doing the palaces early on the west. But
yeah,
other than that, like,
yeah, it's sort of the the opposite order for getting overworld items versus palaces didn't really make it. I mean, it was a little bit hard to tell who was in the lead, but you sort of caught up, and it was pretty close even then. But yeah, just unfortunately, sometimes you get a glove hunt. I was hoping I had said. Earlier when we started the second race that, when you do a reroll, it's going to be hot garbage. That's the rule. It's got to be awful. And unfortunately, not an awful one, just a little bit of a tricky glove hunt at the end. could have been a lot hotter garbage. I was hoping we got off that maze into DM and
I was
did
kind of
not.
hoping we got off the maze into DM and then needed the boots in order to get over to the east, just because that would have been the cherry on top for the reroll.
Yeah. Did we even have a DM sighting at all?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a cave on the east that left to the
Okay.
DM.
Yeah, no one really interested in doing that at that point.
All right. So Sawneyrath, your next opponent will be the winner between Level Engine and Angel FM.
Unfortunately, we have been robbed of the Angel match.
I was hoping for it too.
Yeah, I was rooting for it.
I would say I tried, but like I said in the room after I finished and Angel had finished, he made me bring my A game after our game 2.
Well, you
Yeah, I
definitely-
mean, both of you were skipping out on stuff and trying to put foot on the gas and go fast. I mean, it's sort of what's going to be required as we get deeper into these brackets.
Oh yeah. And if my next opponent ends up being Angel FM, I have to bring the double A double plus game.
Yep, Angel FM is the number 2 seed in the brackets.
Yeah, we still have our. I think we still have most of the top 16 seeds remaining.
Yep, I think only one of those is out. Well, that didn't make it to the to this round, which is, I believe, number 19 seed, off the top of my head, if I'm thinking.
Yeah. And then Shaddy was the number 17 seed.
But yeah, still a lot of the top seeds still to go, because of course we've got plenty to go on from round 2.
Lot of Z2R action remaining in this tournament.
Yeah, and should have some NIT races starting up soon. I know I was the last match to go heading into it was the last match to go heading into the second round here, so we should have some NIT matches, some good new bracket matches, bunch of new stuff coming up shortly.
It's going to be a good time.
Let me see when our next race is for Z2R, and then we'll get you out of here. Looks like tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, so of course adjust for your time zone, will be Tavarius versus DK9146. They're, I believe, game 1.
Yeah, that will be game 1.
Yep, and then followed right behind that is Tabby Orange versus BKPKT Patrick. So hopefully we'll have those one right after the other tomorrow. So we'll see about getting those here on ZSR. If not, it'll be on my channel. But any final thoughts on this race?
GG's Angel, like I said, you made me bring my A game, and the seed definitely showed what I needed to bring. So you definitely made a good run in this tournament. And heck, I think back to when we did upstarts last year. Or was it a couple years ago? Either way, I think back to when we did upstarts and look at where we are now, and it's just like, holy cow, how much have we really improved?
I
Yeah,
agree. I
they're-
think the same thing. Yeah, GG Sawneyrath. Good luck in your next match, man, for sure. You deserve the win.
Appreciate it, bro, and I'll see you in casual races and all that fun stuff.
For sure.
All Right, so definitely thank you to Sawneyrath and Angel Nimbus. Try to give them a follow if you can. I also want to give a thanks to our tracker, BKPKT Patrick, for all the behind the scenes work. And thank you, Elendar, for joining me in the comms booth. All right, I'm going to send you over to Zelda Speedruns 2, where they're doing a Skyward Sword Randomizer tournament match. But here on ZSR Main, I believe they're going to do a mentor mentor showcase for A Link to the Past NMG run. So that should be shutting up shortly here. But other than that, thank you for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.